Wax, I wanted to transition a little bit to physical merchandise. So we had Ben Brennan from At Venue on a recent panel with us. He was talking about the 4 t-shirt concept, where it's just 4 shirts are going to be what is the bulk of what you sell. Your web store is filled with just really cool products, from ping pong balls and branding irons and things like that. Like how I guess. How helpful is alternative physical products to your physical product revenue stream? And do you differentiate between what it is that you sell in your web store versus what you would sell at your merch table when you're on the road?
Yeah, I think it's it's kind of part of who I am, or I guess part of my brand or something like that, to kind of make some wacky stuff every time I come out with an album, or sometimes just at random. Take the branding irons, for example. I made wax branding irons. So you heat it up and then you get my logo, push my logo like you would on a cow, you know what I mean? But that people love the idea. Nobody bought them. Hardly anybody actually bought those things, you know what I mean? But sometimes the idea is just fun anyway. That said, a lot of the other stuff that has more utility to it, stuff like lighters, stuff like rolling papers, obviously t-shirts, and the music itself in the form of CDs. I mean, now that's really just a souvenir too. But what else have I been selling? I sell like little coolers and stuff like that. But it's not skateboard decks. It's actually what I'm selling now is actually, a lot of it is left over from the tour. I'm actually marketing my current thing as a spring cleaning sale. And it really is shit that's in my garage. Because to be frank, I was using a merch company. I didn't really like I didn't think they were that great. So I just had them send me the stuff back. And I was thinking about just selling it out of my garage for a while. And then this quarantine hit, and it kind of was the perfect time to just do it myself. I've been spending a lot of time doing it. I've sold 3 things since we've been on this chip thing, you know what I mean? And it's actually, I actually like doing the work. I actually enjoy doing kind of like real regular work, like packing stuff up, you know what I mean? But kind of went off on a tangent. I forgot what you were actually asking me, but
no, that's it. I was just curious whether you ever come across a product that oh man, nobody's ever thought of this before, and it just takes off. But it sounds like the rolling papers and things like that are I guess that leads to the next question: is how often are those sort of like really low priced items the kind of items where people just, well, I'm going to get the t-shirt, so I'll get that as well, so that way I come to an even dollar amount, the add-ons?
Yeah, that is a lot of what it is. I do guitar picks, and if you add it's like $1 extra to your order. So a lot of people, if they're going to order a t-shirt anyway, they'll get a guitar pick. And I just think I just think it's cool that people have guitar picks with my name on it. I just think stuff like that is cool, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about it. It's a good way to make money. It's a good way to market. It's a good way it's another interaction if you have fun with it. Every time I put out an album, I make a pack. I make a pack with a theme that all the pieces of merch will fit together, and you can buy just the album. You can buy the album with the t-shirt, or then you can get the working up just like you would with a crowdfunding thing. It works up to the biggest bundle where you get the skateboard deck, the t-shirt, the cooler, the branding iron, the rolling, you know what I mean? So I think stuff like that is fun to do, and you can kind of make it humorous and make it interesting in your own way,
Yeah, excellent. Well, Crystal, Wax brought up crowdfunding. Has the Patreon model completely replaced the Kickstarter model, or is there still a place for crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter for music artists?
I think that there's still a place for it. We actually just ended an Indiegogo campaign a couple weeks ago. So what we did for that was our current single at radio is Sober, and we were raising money for Rock to Recovery, and we created a special merch item with the words sober on it, and it's an exclusive item that was available only on Indiegogo, and that was just used as a way to raise money for Rock to Recovery and help people in recovery. So I think that they're being used in different ways. That's like a one-time campaign that has a set date when it's going to end and the money we use to donate to charity, whereas Patreon is a reoccurring subscription. So it's not like a one-time thing where they sign up and then the campaign ends. These people are being billed every single month. So it's a subscription. It's a subscription model, and I think that they're being used differently now. Some people may still be using the crowdfunding model, but I think that Patreon in the long run is probably better in the sense for making money for the band themselves, and then maybe like an Indiegogo would be better for funding money for charity.
Yeah.
At least that's how we're using it.
Gotcha. Excellent. I'm sorry we're going just a couple minutes long, everybody. I hope you'll just hang on for just a few minutes more. Mike, we've talked about, like I feel like we're just scratching the surface of like all the different new revenue opportunities that are there. And I know even behind the curtain, there are things that you're pursuing with Ice Nine Kills. What is it that you see as the opportunities for not only Ice Nine Kills, but other artists that you've worked with over the years as like the sort of low-hanging hidden fruit in new revenue in terms of like what things that we talk about, the super fans versus casual fans, international versus domestic, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think right now the main strategy is to streamline any existing revenue source. We're spending time streamlining it, right? We're making sure that our margins, which maybe we weren't so concerned with when, touring, which made up 70% of our income was the main thing. The margins on some of these smaller things weren't a big deal. Now they're everything. So we're going in and taking a look at those. So, and then we're saying, okay, what exists as far as, the new revenue streams? And you're right. I mean, if we've got a proven track record, which we do with Ice Nine Kills, we do some limited merch drops. Obviously the stuff with Soundrink, what will immediately kind of translate to, presumably, to that similar sort of behavior, right? So people are willing to pay for things that are limited, that you can only get once for a unique experience. So are there other things like that? There's a ton of other stuff that can still be talked about and developed. Twitch, of course, the band Ice Nine doesn't really play video games. So though I know it's not exclusively used for video games, it's something that didn't really make sense for us to pursue today. Doesn't mean that we won't be doing that in the future. But yeah, I think any artist that's out there, you got to really look at what exists and then what is easily transferable based on your current superfan behavior.
And how are you finding these new things for Ice Nine Kills?
These search and destroy missions that we go on. I mean, the good news is for me, right? Like I've been a fan of new revenue models since I started managing bands. I mean, as somebody who develops, who works with developing artists, we always had to be, cognizant of every opportunity that was out there. So I've spent a lot of time in the trenches figuring out how to do Patreons, how to do Indiegogos, how to develop, Cody just mentioned he started his company 9 years ago. I mean, I was working with him from day one. And then cool things like Cameo, where, sometimes the artist is bringing it to us. Spencer signed up for Cameo on his own without us even, having to push him in that direction. Even though we had talked about it, at some point in the past. So, what I do as a manager, right, is stay connected with other great managers. Thankfully, I work in a wonderful company where, look, Crystal, took it and ran with this Patreon, and I was like, whoa, super impressed, and there's other things like that that are happening within our company. But yeah, just spending time in quarantine and connected with Matt, we hit it off. I think the cool thing about everybody on this panel is, sounds like we all kind of come from the same background and have the desire to help our artists. And I think, anyone who's got that passion and is sort of artist, artist friendly and artist facing is trying to help one another by sharing whatever's working for us. Yeah.
That's awesome. Wax, I'm hoping that you can sort of wrap us up if you don't mind. Like having a career in music, one that lasts, is more than just being creatively prolific and excited to make new music years after you last were excited to make new music. It's also about just being financially viable. So do you have any advice for artists who are early in their career on how to develop a career in music that is financially viable?
Well, first of all, I've had my ups and downs. I haven't had to have a real job since in a long time, since probably 2009. So that's good. I'm not rich. I'll tell you that. I'm not rich, but I do okay. I live in a cool place. I got a home studio. I go on tour. I got a car, shit like that. And I think everything that's been said already is there's some things that are kind of obvious. If you tour and you make albums, that's run of the mill. I think Cameo, Patreon, all these things are very valuable. My advice, if I had to wrap up what I would say personally to any young people, the best kind of money that you can make in this is money off of stuff you already did. You know what I mean? So in any business that has something where you quote unquote publish something, a book, a painting, like something, point is, I'm like, I'll get a phone call and I'll have a song I made 10 years ago and it just made some money on some random way. And forget like stuff like that, syncs and getting your money on, getting your music on TV and music and movies. Just the Spotify streaming alone. People listen to my old stuff still. People discover my stuff that's 12 years old today. You know what I mean? So the best way to make money is money that you make now off stuff you did 10 years ago. That's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of music. It's like, we still watch movies from the 70s. We still listen to The Wall. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if you put out a lot of stuff, you might find that somebody might discover your stuff later. So all I can say is make good stuff, put it out. Try to make your connections and all that. Go on tour. Touring's fun. You know what I mean? But if you have stamina, you'll make it. Because I might have told you that 2009 was the last time I had a real job, but people don't know I'm old. You know what I mean? I had many jobs after that. I wasn't able to do this till I was 30. You know what I mean? I'm 41 now. So it takes. I made albums and did tours where nobody came. I got booed off the stage. I got the microphone cut off on me. You know what I mean? I did all that stuff. And Jimmy Iovine's famous quote, he said that he's never met anybody in the music business that failed. He's only met people that gave up. And I actually am a subscriber to that belief.
I love that. And I love the fact that you just slapped me with a panel on new revenue by talking about old revenue. And
Right.
It's so awesome.
Well, it's the best because you don't have to do anything. You already did it,
Well, thank you everybody for being here and for sharing your wisdom. I really can't express how appreciative I am. So thank you very, very much.